Hello, hello. My name is Jake Ray. I'm a certified hypnotist. I practice regression and progression hypnosis, as well as qhht or quantum healing hypnosis, which I'm a level 2 practitioner of. Check out my website linked down below if you want to know more about my practice, if you want to reach out to me. I do free consultations and I do offer remote sessions. Other than that, let's jump into the topic for today. So, I wanted to share a session story where my client was given some surprising information around their soul's origin, where they came from, and where they're going after this incarnation. My client Tony in this session experienced some scenes from their current life, and this showed and brought up this deep sensitivity that Tony had, as well as the difficulty they had understanding and interacting with the darker sides of humanity, whether that be kids who were mean or someone who lied to them. So let me know down in the comments below if you've ever felt this way. If that sensitivity, if anything that Tony experienced resonates with you, because you may have something in common with this soul. And definitely stay tuned for that breakdown and that information, though you may have deduced that from the title of the video. Anyway, let's get into the session story. So my client was shown in their session scenes from their current life. They were shown quite a bit from their young childhood all the way through into college. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that this happens. Regression to the current lifetime is certainly a way that a session can play out. And whatever comes up, whether that be a past life or current lifetime or any other parallel or future lifetime, it's always going to be the most important, relevant information for you, chosen by your higher self, because that's who I work with when we are going into a session. And there's always a reason for that. The first glimpse that we had in the scenes that we were shown was an early scene from their childhood. They were around 7 years old, and Tony was being shown the day when they got their cat, their childhood cat, and they were so happy and excited and having a good time playing with this kitty. But this new furry friend reminded them of sadness, of kind of the opposite end of the emotional spectrum. When I asked them what was making them sad, they said that they don't have any friends other than their cat. And so I asked them to tell me some more about that. And this is what they said. So let me play their response. Tell me more about that.
I'm too shy, sensitive, getting my feelings hurt. People are mean. I don't like it. They're too mean. They should be nice to each other.
So like I said, that was about 7 years old, and was definitely a moment where you could sense and really hear that emotion that they felt, that the difficult feelings they had, in the ways that other people treated them, in the ways that they just didn't understand how other people were. The next moment that I wanted to share with you to really illustrate this sensitivity was when Tony was about 12 years old, and they were talking about one of their friends who they were very close with and they did a lot with, and yet they still felt lonely. They still felt that loneliness. I asked them to tell me more about that, to describe that a little more. So here's their response. Let me play it. Yeah, you still feel that loneliness?
Yeah, I'm weird.
Why do you say that?
People don't like me. I talk like an adult. I don't understand what my classmates are saying. My mom says it's because I'm too smart, but I don't think that's it.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. Something's wrong with me. So
they really felt like something was wrong with them. It was another moment where they felt out of place, where they felt misunderstood and really confused by other people and the ways that other people just didn't get them. They didn't get the other people. Now, there was certainly more scenes and more that came through, but these couple moments really illustrated and showed the experiences that Tony had growing up, and this sensitivity again, this difficulty. And I was really interested what the higher self had to say around the entire, what was shown, but especially about these moments and these challenges they had with other people and with relationships. So what did the higher self have to say? Well, the first thing that really stood out to me when we started discussing what came up and what they had shown Tony was they said Tony is a sensitive soul, very sensitive to the dark, the heavy. And there were definitely a few points where I noticed Tony talking about that heaviness, the weight that they felt from the emotions, that these darker emotions made them feel. And we could definitely see the sensitivity that they showed throughout the experiences. The next bit that I wanted to play for you, I wanted to play directly because as much as I love paraphrasing, I think sometimes it's really great to hear it directly from the client and the words that the higher self chose to use directly. So let me play that clip for you, and then we'll keep discussing.
They serve humanity. They have light and love that they share.
I was curious, and of course only share this if it's appropriate for to know, but is this lifetime one of first on Earth, or have they had other lifetimes here?
This is their first.
So they haven't incarnated on the physical Earth plane before?
They have never been to Earth.
I was curious with how they were talking about how sensitive they were and how the darker side of humanity is challenging for them.
They are from light. They are not used to the dark.
It can be a challenging adjustment.
They have struggled their whole lives, but they will make it. They will fulfill their purpose. They are strong. They must find the light within. They may use this light to serve others. So lots coming up there, lots of information. So as you heard, the higher self shared that this is Tony's first incarnation on Earth. They've never been here before. And not only that, but they came from the light, which is source, also known as source. And like they said, they are from the light. The darkness they're not used to. And so that's where this challenge with dealing with the darker things in life, or that sensitivity to the lower frequency emotions and such. Now, the next question that I asked them was one that Tony had come to the session with. So it was fascinating because they didn't, this client didn't have prior knowledge of the information that came up, and yet they still had a sense of knowing that something was different, that there was some subconscious pressure, right? And you and I know that's the higher self kind of pushing and prodding and kind of poking you in the direction that you need to go. And so the question that Tony came to the session with was, how did they come to this incarnation? Why did they choose this incarnation, this life, this moment now? And they were really curious if they had volunteered or if there was some sort of call that had brought them here. And they had read a little bit about Dolores Cannon before they came to the session, which a lot of folks who come to me for qhht do. And so they were just curious around that question, and I thought it was super fascinating what their higher self had to share. So let me play the next bit directly from them. They answered the call to serve humanity. The Lightbeings are needed on the planet. They are here at an exciting time. They will see many changes. They will help many changes. Then they will return. This is a field trip.
Just, I love that description of this incarnation being a field trip. And obviously lots more to dig into there. I think the topic of light beings is one of my favorites, and there's definitely a little nuance to this idea, this concept. I mean, we now know with quantum physics and such that we ourselves are light beings at, at the most minuscule level. Like, we are made of those biophotons, and yet talking about a little bit of a different light being here. And if you've read Dolores Cannon's work, or if you've watched any of her videos, she's certainly talked about this concept and researched a lot about this and the waves of volunteers, kind of a different way that souls were incarnating here on Earth that didn't fit within what she understood or had found thus far, as the ways that incarnations work and the ways that that our incarnational patterns work. Now, certainly, there's a variety of ways that souls can come here to Earth, and that, if you've listened to my other videos, you'll know it could be other planets, it could be other dimensions. There's just a lot of variety in the cosmos, and the little we know about the scope of the cosmos, it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of variety out there, and there's certainly other star seeds who have come to this planet from elsewhere, whether that be another planet, another dimension, like I said. And these folks oftentimes have similar sensitivity or similar challenge with the darker sides of things. And so there's not necessarily one explanation, or this is the rule of law as far as sensitive souls go, because even souls who have been a part of the incarnational cycle here a lot can have this sensitivity, right? So there's nuance there. This is why I think having a session of your own is so valuable, because you're able to dig into your own information, find your own answers, and really get to the deeper stuff that's relevant to you, because ultimately we're all living our own journeys, and each of our soul's incarnational patterns is going to be different from someone else's, even when there are similarities. Anyway, all that to say, let me play the last bit of this section from the higher self, because it was fascinating. My favorite word. I use fascinating too much, but it's a good descriptor. So this fascinating last bit around the purpose of this lifetime, and I had asked if there was anything else they needed to know. So let me play that, and then we'll wrap things up.
They are very brave.
Mm-hmm.
This is short, and it is to learn. They crave their light, their home, but they will return.
So it sounds like they're not, it's just a temporary experience on Earth. They're not a part of the karmic wheel or a part of the cycle here.
They came to help, and then they will return.
Okay. I'm just curious with their relationships in this lifetime, if there's any karma that would have to then work through afterwards.
They have not incurred karma.
All right, so a lot there, but the big part that I found super fascinating was this idea of bypassing karma, or being shielded from accruing it in this lifetime. And if you've read Dolores's work, she's definitely discussed this concept as well. She's had multiple clients, again, who are in this same situation where they've taken this field trip to Earth, incarnating here at this time to help, to bring that light, to help raise the frequency of the Earth. But because of their unique mission, they're not a part of that karmic cycle. They're sort of able to bypass that karmic accrual, or the buildup of karma, and don't need to then return to rebalance that. Of course, karma is a big topic. There's lots of opinions out there on it. I view it as a balance of energy, a balancing of energy. It's an action. It's a ongoing process. Ultimately, in order to fulfill their mission, Tony's soul couldn't accrue karma because they're just here for this brief moment, and then they'll return again. And that's not typical. Typically, if you are here on Earth, you're a part of that karma and that cycle, like I said. And in order to leave, in order to move on from Earth, you need to balance. You need to wrap up all of that. And so yeah, super fascinating to hear this. And as always, I wish that I had asked a billion more questions, but you only have so much time during a session, and I do the best I can. One piece of information that I also wanted to share, because I love it, I think it's cool, was that we asked if Tony had anyone else come with them, if any of their family, if any of the folks they knew in this lifetime had come from the light as well. And what their higher self shared was that, one, their cat, their childhood cat, had come from the light with them and was a companion for them, was a source of love and of that light, and to help them throughout this lifetime, which makes a lot of sense. It's really beautiful because we see the challenge and the difficulty that my client had in forming those close relationships, especially when they were younger. The other person that came with them was their father, and it was so cool because this client shared afterwards that when they told their dad this information, that they also came from light, it really resonated with him, and that he felt this way for a long time, that it really confirmed this deep knowing that he had, which is beautiful, which is so cool. So anyway, fascinating session, very fascinating soul, and an honor as always to guide someone through finding these answers and exploring these topics, because it's cool stuff. And the more I learn, the more I realize the cosmos are wild, and there's so much more we have to learn and to understand, and just makes me excited for my incarnations after this lifetime, right? I share this not only because it's fascinating stuff, not only because I thought that y'all might like it, but I also know that that this soul was not alone in its mission coming here. I already shared that Dad and Kat came along for the journey, but I know that there are many other souls who have made this same journey, this same trek, because it really is a galactic effort, a team effort to execute this transition period, to facilitate this transition, to facilitate this evolution that we are going through. And I think that in order to raise the frequency of the collective here on the planet, these special beings came for this special mission in order to facilitate that change and to help all of us with this quite dynamic change happening. And what an honor, not only to those souls who have come to be a part of this, but what an honor for all of us who are privileged enough to be incarnated at this time. And don't get me wrong, I certainly have these moments, and I'm sure y'all do too, where you question why you're here, you question the state of the world, the state of your world. It's certainly a challenging time to be here, and I think definitely is not for the faint of heart. But just as Tony is brave and strong and able to execute their mission, all of us are able to do that as well, especially when we're working with our higher selves, when we're working with our guides, when we're working with our galactic family. The more that we come together and we work together, the better that we all are. And I think what is the saying? It's like, sharing the weight is easier than carrying it alone, or something like that. I think there's a saying like that. I don't know. But ultimately, I wanted to share this to help bring some hope and to remind everyone, including myself, that ultimately there's so many beings from all corners of the cosmos helping and assisting in this transitionary period. So even though it might feel sometimes like we're alone, remembering that that's just our perception, that we are not actually separated from anyone around us or the cosmos as a whole, and to do our best to hold the light as well, to stay in those higher frequencies, to do our part to assist in this transition period. So ultimately, if you found yourself extra sensitive in this lifetime, or if you've struggled with those darker sides of humanity, you could also be like Tony and be a soul that chose this mission, that came, answered that call, and came to help in this moment. It could also be a variety of other reasons, which is why I think having your own session is so powerful and really helps to take out the guesswork. But remembering too, you can connect in with your higher self during meditation. You can ask for answers, for clarity on these sorts of questions from your higher self, from your guides, and making sure that you're using discernment, of course, when you're tapping in. If you're interested in exploring this topic for yourself, if you'd like to find your own answers, let me know. I certainly am more than happy to facilitate these sorts of sessions and to help you find your answers from your higher self and to tap into that beyond information, because it's so valuable and so helpful and can really unlock the next level for your soul, for you, for this incarnation, and to yeah, to grow as a soul. Let me know down below if this resonated with you, if you have any thoughts to share, anything that came up for you when you were listening to this. I'd love to hear your experiences down below. And of course, hit that like button if you enjoyed the content, because it really does help. And subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. All of the love and light to you all, and bye for now.